I think the move driving up here. I see some questions coming in the chat. We did drive, and
okay. That answers one of the questions right out the bat. Okay, you drove.
Yeah. So I mean that's pretty intimidating. We have an F-150, and we had a 30-foot enclosed trailer. We put our whole life in the back of that thing, and it was us and our 2 dogs. And you know, it was April. So it wasn't maybe the best time to come, but it wasn't that bad. It was like driving through Texas for the majority of it. And then we got a little bit further north, and then we got into the Yukon, and then we went to bed, we woke up, and there was, I think, 6 plus inches of snow. We were making our tracks, just kind of keep our days long so we could get here as fast as possible. But we were worried about the drive. We tried to prepare as much as possible, a couple spare tires and things like that, but that was definitely a concern heading into it as well.
Right. Did you guys have any crazy stories as you were driving along the Alcan, or is it pretty much just business as usual, just a slightly longer road than what you're used to?
I think that once is good. If you get a chance to drive the Alcan, and maybe you don't have your entire life in a trailer on the back of your F-150, and it might be more fun. But I think we put in, I think, 11 plus hour days. We drove from Minnesota to Palmer in 4.5 days. So we cut a couple of days off just driving real long. The worst of it was we were coming down a hill in the snow, and I had no brakes, and it was just the weight and momentum of the truck that kept us off the guardrail.
You remember it slightly different than me. I would not recommend it from point of view at all.
Granted, Meg's just coming in hot. Yeah, I would not recommend it. Was it just the Alcan or the time of year for you?
I think it was the time of year. That was definitely a piece of it. And we researched the drive up, downs, backwards, sideways. Like, we were ultra prepared for the border, because you hear crazy horror stories for that all day.
During the pandemic, trailer, the borders were tough.
Yeah. So we were ultra prepared for that. But as soon as we hit the road, it was extraordinarily windy. And anyone with a trailer knows wind is not great. We hit snow. The road wasn't nearly as bad of a condition as what people kind of stress it to be. So there were parts that were really good. We had planned 7-10 hour days, inclusive of like an all day at the border, just to be safe. And then, like Christopher said, once we got on the road, we just hammered down. And I'm glad we got here in 4 days, but it just was 4 days of stress. Yeah. So just make sure you're planful. You'll find the wind or some other random thing to deal with, but I probably would pay someone to move us up here next time around.
Yeah, well, I mean, hindsight's 20/20. Yeah. All right, so we've got some questions rolling in here already. So let's knock some of these out of the park real quick here, and we'll get on with some of our scheduled programming. So number 1, coming in from Adam Greco. Yeah, the beard is fierce. So there you go. People are loving the beard.
Appreciate it.
The mountaineer.
It's very distinctive. All right, so let's see here. Coming in from Mr. Brandon, how was it at the border? So, I mean, you guys, there have been lots of stories. We've talked about it on the podcast, on this live stream. Some people just skate on through and it ain't no thing. Other people, it's definitely a thing. So, you know, how did it shake out for you guys?
So like I said, we had ultra planned. We had a book with literally everything. Every tote was numbered, what was in the tote. We had spices and food and wood and like all the things they tell you on the website. And of course we had dogs. We had all their paperwork, we were ultra prepared, and we got there at shift change. So we got there at 9:00 Canada time. And we did have a guy that went through the COVID things, and they weren't quite sure what their COVID rules were.
Yeah, that was what was most interesting, is they actually didn't know what their country's protocol was at that given time.
Because they were changing so frequently. So we had that took the 20 minutes of them trying to figure out what the stipulations were. And they were very confused. But otherwise, they didn't check a thing.
No.
Nothing.
Didn't open a door, didn't look at the vehicle, didn't check the dogs.
Let us go. They were ready to go.
About 20 minutes we were through.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just really got to overwhelm them with your preparedness, though.
Yeah.
I think they watch for the person that's like fumbling and really nervous and like obviously doesn't have their stuff together. And I think that's who they're looking for. They're not really looking for, the fiercely bearded couple that's got all their ducks in a row.
It's actually kind of funny you mentioned that because it triggered something for me. They did not believe that we didn't have guns. So we didn't bring any guns with us. We sold them all before we moved, or if you don't have them. But they asked us, I don't even know, 10 different ways. Do you have a gun with you? You don't have anything, like not a rifle or a handgun? We're like, no. They're like, what about parts to a gun? Still don't have any parts to a gun. So like that was something as well that they were really digging hard for, but that wasn't a concern for us.
So yeah, good to know. Man, I guess they just hear you're from the US and you just assume you're, I don't know. I see all these memes. Remember that one with like the American, the bald eagle that's like running by with like the machine guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what they expect. Okay, so moving on here. We've got one coming in from Joshua. I'm just going to jump onto this one real quickly. For finding work, have it planned. Did you apply before getting there? Is it easier once you are there? So for you guys, I think it was a little different because I remember you guys saying it was more remote is what you were able to do. Do you have any other insights or anything like that you could offer?
I'll start with my story and then I'll let Chris jump in because he's got a little bit different one. So my job in Minnesota was a corporate-based job. I applied to become remote, so I became remote eligible. So I still have the same job that I had in Minnesota now here, and I work Central Standard Time. So I started at 5 a.m. and I'm done by 2 o'clock every day, Alaska time, which has been super fantastic.
Yeah, so when we set sail from Minnesota to Alaska, we both already had secured remote jobs at the same major retailer. So we worked from a corporate retailer in Minnesota. But not too long ago, I actually was laid off from that company, and then I did have to find work. So it was definitely a stressful period. But if you're remote, there's a lot of options. Someone asked about the internet up here. We have MTA, if anyone's researching in our area, we have fiber optic direct line. We actually have better internet now than we did when we lived in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. It's faster. It's never gone down. It's great. It works perfect for us. All of the high speeds. We have some home automation stuff and all of that works fine. You can check your Ring cameras and open your garage doors, all that stuff like normal. So the internet's great, at least for us. But I did secure some jobs. Another Minnesota corporation picked me up. Just had to go through a little period of finding a job. So I didn't find anything in Alaska, but I did find another remote job doing logistics out of Minnesota.
Yeah, and you guys are. There's always something new, big, life-changing event with you guys every time I'm checking in. So yeah. I feel like I need to check in on you guys more often.
Well, Jamin, I don't want to give you the bad news. I want to give you all the exciting, fun news.
Yeah, you know what? News is news at this point. So.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, so let's go and move on here. So when you guys did make that decision to go, how did your friends, family respond when y'all said you were going to be moving to Alaska? Do you think that completely took them out, took them by surprise, or was it like, this is Chris and Meg, of course they're going to be doing this?
Everyone was extraordinarily supportive. Everyone we've told, and our friends' parents even, have been more than supportive and involved. We actually picked maybe a bad time to go. Our best friends, our family, announced they were pregnant almost right after we said that we were moving. So everyone's supportive of technology now. It's very easy to stay in touch, still have face-to-face interactions. So yeah, supportive, and it's definitely different, maybe a little bit more difficult, but
yeah, we thought there would be more excitement for people to like want to come visit, but we've had to drag some people into that conversation. Some folks have already visited and they're really sweet for doing so. We loved having them. But we moved to Alaska. The only person we knew here was you, Jamin. You were our only contact in this entire state. And since we moved here, we've doubled the number of people we talk to in the state. It's you and the local pizza shop up the road. So we do want our friends and family to come visit us. We just got to find out the right time for when it works.
There you go. I mean, yeah, I mean, you guys do too many more trips on the train. I imagine that's not going to be very, very difficult to make happen.
Well, to be clear, I don't know that we're shopping for any friends.
To be clear, the people here
Not shopping for visitors. Okay, got it.
the people here are extraordinarily nice. I'm
Yeah.
so used to Minnesota where like you're head down in the grocery store, you don't make eye contact unless you're gonna like fist fight somebody. And here it's, I mean, our neighbors are marvelous. We have a community Facebook page, and I think the first post or second post